sells my entire adult life, which is a long time.
Hasn't been that long.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I've been selling residential real estate here in the Valley for over 23 years. And I hired Sherry Travers as my assistant 17 years ago. Is that true?
Yes.
17 years ago.
Is that true?
And then she's like, well, you suck.
My husband told me to go get a job.
Yeah.
So that's where I went.
And then she's like, well, I'm going to go get my broker's license and I'm going to be smarter and better than you are. But she still hangs out with me. So that's awesome. So she's more like a business partner. Let me rephrase that. She is my business partner. Thank you, Sherry, for all of your help. And we recently joined Place last summer, so we're before it was just kind of the dynamic duo in terms of how we managed our business. Now we're like, well, let's grow this thing, right? And so we're expanding, and we've opened up our eyes to the top 1% to 2% of teams across the country, and it's been an eye opener. I mean, it's funny when you hang around other people that are at we think we're doing great. I was on my home group leaderboard. Isn't that great? And they're like, gosh, yeah, man, I only made $5 million gross commission income last year. And I'm like, okay, it's a little more than me. So it's good. It's educational. And from that comes pieces of information, and that's the purpose of today. Pure and simple is I feel confidently and with all of my heart that there's no better time than right now than to be a real estate agent. I am excited, and that excitement's coming into play with what we do every day, how we deal with every day, and we're selling houses. I mean, we went under contract on how many houses in the last?
2 and a new listing, and they have 2 new realtors.
Yeah, and so it's kind of it's a mindset, because you hear in the news and from your peers, and it's always, I got a problem here and I got a problem there. And so I thought, let's have a class. I didn't know what to teach exactly. And then Lizzie sent that very nice, if you're friends with Lizzie on Facebook, she had a very nice Facebook post about some challenges she'd had. And she said, and through all the real estate zombie apocalypse. I go, what a great name for a real estate class. So I told her, I'm borrowing your name, Lizzie. And so that's what we did. So I've got some things I want to talk about. I've got in my mind where I want to go today. But I think and is it okay if I use... How are you guys super conservative? Can I use words like bullshit? Is that okay in this room?
Can you do more than that?
No.
Well, I think that's bullshit, okay? Because it's in other words, you guys decide to spend an hour with me, okay? So I'm going to give everything I have to you, all right? So I'm going to share with you my thoughts and where my head's at, but before then, I would really like to know, is there anything, even that has nothing to do with the zombie apocalypse, because that's important, is there anything you want to get out of today? Anything on your mind? Pardon me?
Can I have Sherry?
You certainly join our team. It's that simple, bro.
Yeah, I would like a method by which to get some traction, to just get some more leads. A systematic something. And I do some very basic things. It's just not enough. It's like sprinkles here, sprinkles there, no consistency.
So what I hear you saying is, you would love to have some clarity on a system by which you're going to hit your goals.
Yes.
Is that a fair way of saying it?
Yeah.
That would be valuable.
Probably write lower so I can erase it at the end. It's not right for me.
I'll do that. That's okay.
We'll boost you.
Predictable outcomes.
God bless you. I appreciate that. What do I do every single day to get the shit done that I need to get done so that I win and I can buy the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip for Christmas? Got it. Okay. Anything else? Okay. We'll make sure that we cover that. I should have put it in the middle and made it bigger. Okay. But that's what our class is going to be about.
To maybe throw a little thought into that would be, some of the challenges that when you're talking to either a buyer or a seller, there are some common things that people are saying right now.
Are you talking about objections?
Yeah.
Oh, we're coming. Yeah. I literally had a property, listed it, perfect price. Got 3 offers in 1 week. Seller said, please take my house off the market. I'm scared buying or selling. And it's like I was like, we did everything right. I felt I did everything, and then it's like, okay, I'm not gonna force you to sell a house if you don't want.
That isn't the one down off of Thomas and McDowell area?
No, that one's overpriced.
Okay.
I can't get them down, but I'm literally gonna cancel that listing if they ask me to do another open house.
Okay. Well, let's.
It's overpriced.
Do you get people in those open houses though?
Yeah.
It might be worth just holding on to for the open house.
I know.
That's a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
let me just turn my phone off, guys. Hang on a second, because it's bugging me here.
Open houses, so I'm relatively new, but
Okay.
I had a listing, or have a listing, where I was doing open houses like crazy because just being new, I don't have a ton going on. And I'm like, you know what? It's a ways down. I live up right on the other side of the 101, and it's down in Sun Lakes. And the 1 week I'm like, I'm not doing an open house like I've done enough. That was the week I got the offer. It's like, and it had nothing to do with all the previous open houses. So,
Sometimes it doesn't, but then sometimes you do sell one at an open house.
Yeah.
You know?
Guys, we get in our heads every single day. Okay, Johnny's an expert opener, however you want to say that. But I mean, we get in our heads every day. I just did that open house, and no one showed up.
yeah.
It's so
I've done it 2 weekends in a
defeating.
row.
It's so defeating to like be there. It's like no one came. There's actually a song is like anyways. Yeah.
See, it's mindset. It's important.
Yeah.
Roxy, listen to me. You have a horrible open house, it's overpriced, and no one's going to come, right? That's friggin' awesome, because guess what? I'm in business to sell real estate. There's a vacant house that I can put a folding chair and my computer and a phone and follow my system for predictable results every single day. Why not? And I'll have a sign out front. If someone shows up, it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Hi, how are you? Do you want to buy a house? It's a mindset thing. If you go into that saying, I'm going to do the things that I have to do every day anyway, why not do it in a place where you can be open for business?
Yeah.
Right? Why not? And if your head says, no one's coming in, I'm okay with that. And then you have to be careful, because in a part of you's like, oh, just on my 50th phone call, what do you want? You know, that's maybe not the most opportune script, okay? But I mean, I'm just telling you that it's...
Yeah.
But they'll be impressed with your work ethic.
Yes, ma'am.
Then what I kind of want to know, what my struggle's been in the last...
What was it? Was there a question on open houses? I'm confused.
Oh, I don't know.
I was more or less just talking about, you've been doing it 45 years, did you say?
Yeah. 23, damn it. Okay.
The system, the open houses, how does that fit into your system?
Or buckets. Sometimes people call them pillars.
Yeah.
Where in the hell am I going to get these people? Where are they coming from? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do to find business? Where am I going to get my leads? Yes, ma'am.
I guess my thought was, how do you keep your mindset positive? That's what I remember as the mastermind, you seemed like excited about it. And I guess that is the most important thing, because it kind of has the waves of
It
mindset.
is, and
So
I think
It's hanging out with Johnny Walker.
I was gonna say it's hanging out with Sherry.
but
We
it's
do
true.
have a really
But trust me,
awesome senior wing upstairs.
I do hang out with Johnny Walker. Trust me, whew, you gotta be careful. There's up days and down days. I think it is unrealistic to think that everybody is always happy.
True.
Okay? And we all have challenges, okay? And we all have those things. And the open house, the overpriced listing, and it's a question of what are the questions that you're going to ask yourself every day, and what is and this gets into a life balance planning, and it's like, that's why I'm 190 pounds fit. I've got a washboard stomach. I am ripped, let me tell you. And Johnny's not even paying attention.
I heard every bit of it.
Exactly. I could focus on the fact that I've got some weight to lose. I could focus on the fact that my feet hurt, my ankle. And I do. Everyone does. Those things will come to you, but you have to make a conscious decision in your head. It's what I do. A conscious decision to say, I'm going to give myself. Sometimes, just to put it in perspective for you, okay. I was a very successful salesman in my 20s. I sold I was a clothing manufacturer. I was making bank living in Southern California. I didn't know what to do with the money in my bank. It was like, And then I was with this manufacturer, so they didn't know what they were doing, and I was young, I was in my mid-20s, right? And I had that arrogance of success. It's like, this was easy. What's wrong with these old people? They don't know what they're doing. So I went out and bought a brand, bought a label, did my thing, right? And then I went to the school of hard knocks, which is, my arrogance got me in a place like, oh, so I have to spend all this money and put it on a container ship and bring it from friggin', Nepal, only to find out that the place, it's ruined when it gets here. Well, there's $100 grand, here's this. So, and then I sold that business thinking I'd recapitalize it, and I was dirt poor with 3 little babies, moved to Utah, and I taught them how to become clothing manufacturers, and they go, thank you so much. We don't really need you now that you've taught us everything. So then I went to work for this huge, big mammoth company. I had Mississippi East. I'm a West Coast dude, right? I did not. It was like, I didn't understand that these ladies, they called me, they had these really nice, they were so nice to me. I mean, that's just, what's the terminology Southern women say when they think you're an idiot? That's...
Bless your little heart.
Bless your heart. I didn't realize that So anyway, when my wife said to me, after that long string of challenges, honey, the kids and I are moving back to the Western United States, and you're welcome to join me. So, when I came back here to Arizona, and I said, I'm going to become a realtor, okay? I'm going to do this, and I had a negative net worth of $550,000, and this was in 1999, and I had 28 days worth of money to pay for my rent and food, and I got a job with this big ticket guy, and it took me 2 weeks to realize, I understand. So you don't get paid right away in real estate, right? Okay, so then I went back and did sales management and did stuff. So I was subterranean, and I worked my butt off, and I did what I had to do, and I was still arrogant. I didn't want to go into bankruptcy. I didn't want to do those things. And I finally and I hired an assistant. It's awesome.
Who worked for free.
Well, no, not right away she didn't. And then the market crashed. So my nose was out of the water. It was zero. I was like a 21-year-old. I had nothing. And then the market crashed. And then my daughter got sick. And then there was this and there was that. And I was like, Sherry, I can't pay you. She goes, that's all right. We'll just do a split commission. My point is, shit happens. And it's hard. And you go through it. And there were days that I'd wake up and I'd say, so, how am I going to get through the day? How? And you want to pick up the phone, hello? So you have to say, so what I got in the rhythm of, to answer your question from the heart, is I said, okay, my life sucks right now. So I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to feel really sorry for myself. And then after 10 minutes, I go, okay, I got to put that in a box, and I got to focus on my family and what I have to do, because that's not going to make a living. It's not what I'm going to do. So I consciously choose to, what am I going to do? And back in those days, it was like, well, my life might suck, but you know what? Those people's lives suck more than mine. They are upside down. They have actually made the mistake of letting their home get foreclosed on. They don't have a place to live. They're going to be kicked out in 60 days. Maybe I better help them with short sale. They really need me. So whenever things get tough, I remember and I look at the market, at any market that it is, whatever that market of the moment is, and I say, all right, who could use my help today? Really? Then I'm answering your question, right? And what is it? Well, I feel really bad for that first-time home buyer. They're living in an apartment, and all they're doing is spending money on rent. How are they going to buy a house? And does it even make sense for them? Maybe they shouldn't buy a house. What about these people that have to move because they're on fixed income, and they own their home free and clear, but oh my God, interest rates are horrific. What am I going to do? So anyway, whatever, you pick that pillar of who am I going to, and in your mind, you think about, what am I going to do to help it? And then by God, if I'm going to do something, I might as well have fun doing it. So let's make it fun. So that's what I do.
Can I add something to that, Karl?
Yes, sir.
No, seriously, I don't want to put in. So I was managing about 50 salespeople. What we were selling isn't important. But I went out to have a smoke one day, and everybody that was smoking out there was talking about, my wife's got cancer, I'm going to lose my house. I mean, all these horrible things that you're listening to. So the next day I came in, I gave everybody a brown bag, like a lunch bag, and an index card. And I said, everybody, I want you to write all your shit on that index card. I'm broke, I'm losing my house, I'm sick, whatever that is, nobody's going to read your card. So everybody did that, and I said, okay, now put that card in that bag, and now everybody come with me. We all went outside, and I said, everybody put their bag right here outside the front door. So we did that, and then we walked back in, and everybody's like, what the hell is he doing? And I said, okay, so now you just put all your shit in that bag. Everybody's got shit. So if you come to work and leave your shit outside the door and just do your job, maybe some of that shit will be gone. If you can focus long enough to do your job, it'll help some of those problems go away. And you know what, to this day, I still, every time I walk in that door, I'm like, okay, problems are staying out here. I'm in here to make the problems go away. And that helps me. It's helped me for years.
Unfortunately, though, he writes it down and puts it in a bag, and it's this big old bag, and it blocks the way. It's in the hall. I mean, what the hell? So anyway, enough.
I like the Ben Kenny thing where they said that if you just, what did he have? Stand and laugh for 30 seconds. Just laugh hysterically for 30 seconons.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts you,
It
like,
did.
it's a ridiculous thing when you're in a room with 1,200 people and they're all laughing at nothing. And then you're kind of like, well, what's there to be mad about? We said
Have you ever done that? Have you guys ever tried that before?
I have tried that actually.
You have?
Yeah.
Didn't go well.
It's hard though.
I keep a picture of Karl up in my office, and it makes me laugh all the time.
So guys, what do you say for the next 30 minutes, we just have fun?
Yeah.
Okay, is that all right?
Yes.
And you know what? If you, this is as a friend. We're all friends now. Okay. If you promise me, right? Yeah. See, look, you're smiling. I love this. Promise me, if you in the next 30 days are feeling not awesome, okay?
Okay.
Will you call me?
Of course.
Promise?
Walk
I'll
upstairs.
come upstairs.
Okay, I'm not going to call you, but I will come upstairs. No, I'm serious. Because we got to stick together, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
who cares about, I'm going to go on this team, or I'm going to, screw that crap. We're all in this game together. We got to stick together. We got to help one another. Okay? So, I've got this right here in mind, just for fun. Give me an objection. We'll get one, every once in a while we'll stop, we'll do an objection. Roxy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you while you're on the phone.
No,
Does anybody have an objection?
I'm listening.
What's your objection?
I don't think the bottom's here yet.
You know what? Are you going to know when the bottom's here? Let me ask you a question. Okay, I've got right here. I'm gonna draw a line down here. Okay, all right, and you tell me when my hand starts to go up. Will you do that for me?
Sure.
Okay.
No.
Okay. The bottom was right here, wasn't it? Okay. There's no way no one's ever gonna know the bottom. You can't time the bottom of the market. You can't time the top of the market. Do you agree with that?
I do.
So there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, and I agree with you. If we could do it, I'd do it. Okay. But I do know this, that no one's gonna know they're at the bottom probably till 3 or 4 months after the fact. Does that make sense? So other than your concern that you're not buying right at the very bottom of the market, is there anything else that's stopping you from moving forward?
Nope, let's go look.
Okay. But I mean, whenever someone says an objection, step one, first off, you're like, what? I don't know. I have no idea what that person's saying. Well, okay, I'm going to repeat it back to me. Whatever that objection is. I think that donkeys are not attractive. Oh, so you think that donkeys are like, I have no idea what to say to that, right? You got to repeat it back to them, one, to make sure you understand, and two, to articulate. Then they also recognize that you're listening to them. Then you have to have practice. You have to practice. Because when you hear an objection, you have to have heard it before. And you've got to have practiced responding to it. Because if you have no idea how to respond to it, your best bet at that point is to say, oh, so what you're saying is you're really concerned about the state of donkeys in today's life in the American Southwest? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
I'm so glad you brought that to my attention. I agree with you. And you know what? Since I don't know enough about that, you've just motivated me to do something about that, and I'm going to research that. Would it be okay if I were to call you back later tonight about that?
Sure.
Because I have no idea I don't know. I have no clue. But hopefully you've heard it before.
The objection I got yesterday was I need to save money to get into the next house because I want to upgrade.
Oh, okay.
And if I upgrade now, I'm going to move into a house with a higher payment and I definitely won't be able to save. So I'm going to give myself a year to save and then I will upgrade with savings.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, I want to make sure I understand what you were saying to me. You don't think that you have enough money saved right now to buy a home. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Or the right home.
Or the right home.
To buy the right home. So you're fearful that with the money you've saved, you'd go out and buy a home and it wouldn't be the right home for you because it wasn't really where you want to get. Is that correct?
No, the house that I want to get, he can afford. He's just going to have no savings and he doesn't want to buy a house without savings.
That makes a lot of sense. So what you're saying is the home that you want to buy right now today is going to deplete everything that you've got in your savings and you won't have anything left to pay bills. What if something were to go wrong? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I agree with you. I'm so glad you shared that with me because it's not going to help me to put you in a home that's going to make you house poor, right? Now, where are you now?
They have a 2% interest rate on a house.
Oh.
The mortgage payment's like $1,000.
So there's more. So you're also saying that you don't have to move right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you're so you love where you're living.
Yeah, they renovated it and they love it now. They renovated to put it for sale and now they like it.
Well, I'm really glad you shared that with me. So what I hear you saying is you actually love where you're living and you don't really feel like you need to move. And it sounds like you actually don't want to move. So I'm confused because you also said you didn't have enough money saved to buy the home that you want. Can you clarify that a little bit for me? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, now that the house is renovated, it feels more comfortable living here. We got rid of all the stuff we don't have. They painted and put new carpet and tile. We did all the upgrades we wanted to get it ready for sale.
And now we love it.
Now we love it.
I see. Oh, I get it. We were talking earlier this month and you were going to sell your house and you made these repairs so it would be saleable. Now that you've made these repairs, you love the house and thought of moving it for a higher payment and it doesn't sound attractive to you. Is that what you're saying?
No. Yeah.
Wow, well that sucks for me, doesn't it?
And I told him, it makes sense, I get it, like save your money and then we'll see, because at the end of the day you're going to lose some equity. I try to tell him, like, based on the equity we have right now, that might go away by the time you're ready to have savings, so you might be in the same boat. That was my objection.
But I would ask more questions,
okay.
More questions. The more information you've got, you have in your quiver all this information. So which I'm still discussing because you've already asked these questions.
Yeah.
So you already know. So you're asking questions. So you're trying to find out. So when we started this project, you said you wanted whatever it was. You couldn't wait to live in such and such a place because of such and such. Oh, so that doesn't sound attractive anymore? Oh yeah, it does. So you have to really pull those questions back out, and then you have to once you get it all back, then you have to state it back to them with clarity that they say, yes, you understand. You do understand. And then you have to bring up exactly where you're at. So now that I understand that, I just need to ask a question. If the market, you couch it in a question. So you recognize that today you've got about $100,000 in equity in your home, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. You recognize that the market is such that sellers will help you get better interest rates and things like that. You understand that, right?
Yes.
And I want what you want. But it's important for me, because I want to serve you, that if the market were to continue to retract, so you don't really have any equity, and you need to stay in this home for another 5 to 7 years, are you okay with that?
I didn't ask that question.
Well, I'm just saying you got to know. What are they saying? I really want to move next year. Mm-hmm. Is different than I really want to move. I'm okay being here for another 5 or 7 years, because in 5 or 7 years, the market's going to correct. It's going to be what it's going to be. They're going to be better off in 7 years, no matter what happens. questions.
Yeah.
They're good. If that's really what they want to do, then you got to say, that's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. And oh, by the way, I want more people like you because I like you. And if you know someone, they're probably going to be like you. So do you know someone that because I really was counting on your sale for Christmas? Who do you know that I can sell a house to unless you're screwing me? I'm kidding. but I mean,
I'm gonna stop by and pick up my sign this afternoon, so I'll have that conversation with them and just.
You got to sign up and everything.
Yeah, no, I literally everything signed. We got 6 showings over the weekend, and we got 3 offers.
Wow.
So definitely priced it right.
Well, it's important that you ask these questions. It's
Yeah.
important that you get the answers to that. And it's important that you meet with their lender. It's important that you make certain that this is really what they want and they've done the math.
Yeah.
Who's their lender? Have they done the math? Have we figured it out? Well, no, it's because of the interest rate. Well, we'll buy down the interest rate. Heck, I'll take a percentage of my commission and give it to you to buy. In fact, I'll give you 2. Just sell the house. Does that make sense?
It's all about being a consultant now versus a
You're not going to win them all, but you got to keep going. You got to feel positive about the fact. Instead of saying, I just lost a sale and I spent money and time and effort trying to sell your friggin' house and you changed your mind, is one way. The other way is like, wow, thank God I asked the right questions so that they made the right decision.
But I did tell them, for me, every transaction is a win-win. It has to be a win first to my clients and then to myself. So
Okay.
if this is not a win for you, then let's take the house off the market. And I left it like that. And they said, okay, when we sell our house, it will be with you. So that was kind of weird.
Well, there you go. You got this, Roxy. That's a tough one. Did I not answer someone's question?
You answered mine.
I just was curious when Ryan
Yeah.
said he didn't think it was the bottom of something, and you agreed, and I'm not sure if you were in character or you were really agreeing with him, that we're the bottom of what? We're not at the bottom of what?
First off, I don't know.
But you said you
So
don't think that
that's
we're
an
at the
objection.
bottom of...
I have a couple clients that are
What?
kind of, they're business owners and well-to-do people that feel that they kind of know best and they feel like there's more bottom to come.
And then I'll pull up Crawford after this, and I'll pull up some data, and I can help answer that question specifically, because that would take another 10 or 15 minutes, and that'll take us away from system for predictable outcomes, which is what we talked about. Is that okay?
Of course.
But I think that you have to be able to ask questions, what is the question? Understanding it, and then you better figure out the answer. And maybe you don't know the answer, and maybe the client's right. No, everyone, because talking people into doing something they don't want to do, there's no longevity in that.
No.
But what if you brought up something they hadn't thought of, and you showed them a path that is, wow, that's awesome. I didn't think about that.
Because I feel that even if there is more to come, there's deals out there that can be achieved that would look a lot like the bottom anyway.
So that's why you need to ask more questions.
Yeah.
To peel back that onion to get down to what is it so let's say we are at the bottom. Let's say you decided it was at the bottom. Or let's say the bottom's in 4 months. What does that look like to you?
Yeah.
And how do I know that that's what you want? And once it's at the bottom, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Yeah.
Those are the questions you got to ask so that you can craft an answer.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You're
you're never going to get there. So anyway, the lead generations and the buckets and the pillars come back to the system for predictable outcomes. It comes down to a market, any market. You've got to have a plan for how am I going to win, right? You've got to do that. And before we get there, we got to talk about 3 basic real estate principles. And this is dull and boring stuff, and you guys may have seen this before, if it will go. It's just what we were doing. You have to be able to say the right thing. Does that make sense? You get that? I mean, we're all in this, what's an objection, how do I deal with this? We have to say the right thing. We have to, okay? And so that's principle number 1. Principle number 2 is we have to say it enough times. You can't just say it once, because that person, maybe it's going to want, you're going to go to the next, you're going to find the right person, okay? And the 3rd real estate principle to bringing it to success is you have to have enough people to say it to. I don't know if that's an actual sentence or not, but okay. And so when we have that conversation about what do I say, and who am I going to say it to, and do I have enough people to say it to? You've got to be able to create a system with which you're going to do that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay? And then we come back into attitude, okay? And this is where, from my perspective, okay, it's all about doing our activities and the willingness to do those activities every single day. The problem with that, okay, is that it can be boring.
Don't forget dull. It's dull
And dull.
boring.
Success, these people, and you see them, and you're like, wow, they're amazing how they do that. What they do every day is, it's boring. It's important, and they do it, and they do it again. I just did an open house, and no one showed up. Well, I'm going to do it again. I did an open house, only got one person. Well, I'm going to do it again. It's like, this is boring. But you have to be able to do that in terms of, once you've identified your plan and what you're going to do, you have to be able to deal with boredom. What is boredom? What is boredom, guys? Can you define that for me?
Not being stimulated.
There you go. That's a good one. Or maybe falling asleep, whatever. Or it's a
Not
state
getting the results you want.
Yeah, exactly. The definition in the Webster, in the dictionary, a state of feeling weary because one is unoccupied or lacks interest in one's current activity. I don't know. Have any of you? I chase squirrels. It's one of my pastimes. I'm really good at it. And so I can't tell you. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to make phone calls, and I grab that opportunity. Someone's calling me with a question, or I do this, and I jump to. Does anyone have that? Or are you guys like machines?
No.
You're more of a machine, I understand.
Yes, we all have that.
I went for a run and I saw a squirrel. I literally was looking for it in the tree.
You're serious, aren't you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was in Florida on Monday, so I went for a run and I saw a squirrel.
I like squirrels. That's they're cute. The myth of passion and motivation. Okay, really successful people feel the same lack of motivation as everyone else. I don't know if I never.
That's the answer to your question
It
right
is.
there. Yeah.
But how people overcome it, I think that's what I like, is seeing what people do to overcome
How they
that.
press the reset button. And
Kind of, yeah. And I guess for me, I'm realizing it's other people, like being around other motivated people.
So, you know what you do? You come upstairs, whatever it is, grab some people and say, listen, I need to, you know what, I'm having trouble making my phone calls. Do you mind, are you going to make your phone calls too? Great. Can we meet upstairs or meet over here? Go sit down at the table. It's kind of be noisy, but I like noise. I do well with it. Maybe some people don't like, I don't necessarily like noise around me, but that sounds to me like you need that around you. So create that environment, right?
Activity breeds success.
Exactly. The difference is that they still find a way to show up despite the feeling of boredom. That's exactly what it is. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now, the key is working when working isn't easy. We also run into that. Like, I don't know what to say. You have to practice. And then you fall down. And then you practice more than you did great. But then you fall down. You gotta practice every day. The really good ones, if we were to look at the leaderboard and go to those top 5 people that are always there, that are pure solid, and you really got them to spend 5 minutes in asking them a question of what you do, they practice every day. Now maybe they've gotten to the point of their practice is just doing more of those phone calls, but that's a form of practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to practice this script. I hate the word script, but we have to write it down 5 times. And say it out loud 5 times. Internalize it. Then make it your own so that it doesn't sound like a friggin' script. It's just what you say, right? And the importance of deliberate practice. Okay? Are you deliberately focused on developing your skills? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Okay? And are you simply putting in your time and hoping for the best? I run into that. I do that. Sherry, I spent 2 hours doing lead generation today. And then she does that.
Did you really?
Did you really? How do you feel about that, Karl? Can we look at your results? So, what I'm going to do now, it's 2:10, and I'm honoring your time, okay? I am going to, before I finish this, I'm going to move to an exercise here. When we talk about predictable outcomes, overcoming objections. We're going to continue objections. Anyone comes one, let's bring it up and talk it out. But what I'd like to do right now is talk about the different ways. Now, if I have a relationship with a lender and they send me a ton of leads because I've spent the last decade developing that business, that's a lead generation technique, but it's something that is not, is that something you can do tomorrow?
No.
Probably not.
You could call a lender to say hi and maybe start
Sure,
the process.
exactly, you can start that process. But part of my thing was when this class with the zombie apocalypse was, what are activities that we can do right now, okay, that's going to be able to find a buyer or a seller that I can then get a piece of business here in the next 30 days before Christmas, okay? So, off the top of your head, guys, let me know, what are some of the things that you can do as a realtor to generate business? I mean, I'm going to go through and show you some things that we're going to pick one of these, okay? But give me an idea. Give me some ideas. Yes, sir.
I think the quickest one you already spoke about, which was doing an open house and making your calls while you're at the open house.
Okay.
Do your sphere.
So we got open house. We have sphere of influence.
Door knocking.
Lead gen. Okay. Door knocking.
Circles prospecting.
Does everyone know what circle prospecting is?
No.
No.
Circle prospecting is, she has this listing right here, okay, that she sold. Congratulations for 3 offers, by the way. That was awesome work. She doesn't find it funny. I'm feeling you, okay? But you have a listing right there, wherever that is, okay? And she had these offers, okay? And so she's frustrated. So what we're going to do, whether you call your title rep or on our team, we go on Mojo, whatever you do, you're going to say, I want to know within a 1 mile radius of this house, everyone who lives there, I want their phone numbers, okay? And I'm going to call them, and I'm going to make a script, and I'm going to practice it. I'm going to say, hey, Susie, this is Karl. How are you? And she's going to hopefully interject and say hi and not hang up. 10 of them may hang up on me. And you know, the reason I was calling is I just got 3 offers on my listing around the corner on 123 Main Street, and I was amazed because we had it listed at this price, and I was amazed at the amount of activity. Would you be interested in 3 offers on your home? I'm just saying, create the activity around something you know. Maybe it's a brand new listing. Maybe it's someone else's brand new listing. Maybe you're doing an open house. But circle prospecting is you take a circle of that demographic, you get their contact information, and you get on the phone. You can also do circle prospecting by knocking on a door. Okay, other than circle prospecting, what else we got?
Facebook campaign.
Say it again?
Facebook campaign. Ad campaign. Google clicks.
What else? Anything?
Client appreciation event? I
Sure.
know that's a sphere, but
It's up here, yeah.
Okay.
That's part of that.
that's close, okay. What about like, maybe it's not as effective, but postcards for like farming kind of thing?
Farming.
Host a client event.
You're too late to the game, it's already been said.
Oh,
You're too
sorry.
late,
I
you're
was-
not paying attention.
Kelly was texting.
I understand. Okay. So we got open houses, we got sphere of influence, we got door knocking, we got circle prospecting, we got Facebook advertising, Google ads, which are kind of, you know, we got that whole social media. What else? Anything? Trust me, we could dig in on this. And I'm not in this class is not about focusing and finding new lead generation techniques. But I think we've hit the big ones. Is there any big ones that we're missing, Sherry, that you're aware of?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I mean, you said right now. If it wasn't right now, you can look to other out-of-town realtors. You could look to, you know, things like that. But you said, you know, what would generate.
So there's that's we got business to business.
And tenants, if you do rentals. Tenants are a big business.
FSBO expired.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably the worst climate to do it in.
They're there.
There they are
You
there.
just got a listing appointment off of Tisbo.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
um,
Not impossible, is it?
Slow moving.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
canceled and expired. When do most people put their date on when they write a listing agreement? When do they usually? What day of the month do they usually end the listing on?
Last day of the month.
What day do you think would be the best day to find someone?
First day.
No, because the first day of the month, no one's going to answer the phone because they're getting 50 calls from realtors. Day 3 or 4, when all those other realtors gave up.
But you're right. You're going to find that that's where it comes to doing the same thing every
4 days in a row.
Okay, so there's not one of these that's a bad idea. Not one of them. Okay, but for today's conversation, for the next 15 minutes, as a group, we're going to pick one. I don't care what it is. Which one do you guys want to, as a group, drill into? I'm going to take this.
Circle prospect.
Okay.
Oh, but the scripts, that would be good to do it.
Okay.
That's me.
Fine, circle prospect.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean to
you
jump
can
on
hit different things with
Because the
it.
script could be applied to door knocking, and it could probably be applied to a couple other things.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody want something different?
Well,
Don't be shy.
I'm queen of objections. However, open houses, I would like to do those, but I look for vacant and my home group ones that's semi-close to me, and there's not a lot, surprisingly.
Okay.
So that's been my hold up on doing some, because I don't
Well-
have my own listing right now.
Okay. Anything else? Then let me just, in a perfect world, if I'm really going to be the king of open houses, since you're the queen of objections. I don't think you're the queen of objections. You haven't said any objections.
Well, Kay would say otherwise.
Okay. All right.
She gives me a lot of crap for not doing an open house. I'm like, I don't want to drive 45 minutes, and it's old, it's stale, it's had open houses. Anyway,
Okay.
Do you like doing open houses?
I don't love it, but I will do that.
Out of there, what's your favorite thing to do?
Sphere of influence all day long. Yeah, I can do that.
Because you're going to excel in what you really like.
So here's an idea, guys, just for conversation's sake, just for the next 15 minutes, just for fun. Let's say that we look at open houses, and in that empty open house, because no one's coming through it, right? We are going to call our sphere of influence, okay? And we are going to deal with circle prospecting in reference to how we do that. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to cheat now and pull some data up for us. So, if I'm slow on the computer, how do I, there we go. I'm going to use our business planning tool, which I don't want to get into too much.
While you're pulling that up, how big do you recommend the circle being around your desired area? Like if it's your listing or a recent sale?
I would do it to where I get enough phone numbers to call.
Okay.
If it's something I'm going to door knock in, I'm going to just take 10 on either side.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to go knock on those doors. Depends on what I'm going to focus my energy on to find it's as big as it needs to be. Okay, so let's, by the way guys, if we were, just for conversation's sake, $450,000 average price point is an okay price point to use for analysis purposes for today.
Sure.
Is that good enough, close enough to our median selling price in Maricopa County? Who's getting more than 2.75% commission? Is everyone at 2.5 or below? What's everyone's commission these days?
I'd say between 2.5 and 3.
3.
So 2.75. Good enough. Okay. Sorry, this is just internal stuff, and I'm cleaning it up so we can be more productive. And now, let's talk about conversion rates, okay? Past clients in Sphere, because we're going to be making Sphere of Influence calls, okay? If I'm going to call my Sphere, they're not all going to pick up. Does everyone agree with that? Does that make sense? Okay. Bear with me. What this is saying, and we can change this parameter a little bit differently. These are plug numbers. That's interesting to me. I guess it's maybe it's not working, but I'll redo the math. But do we feel that if I call 10 people in my sphere, 5 of them will pick up? You think it'll be a smaller number than that?
Smaller.
What do you think it will be?
10, probably 3.
Okay.
Depends on the time of day, maybe.
I just need to know
Yeah, 3 sounds good.
30%. I thought I could change this easier than this.
Just roll with it.
Yeah. Well, I want the numbers to make some sense, just from a conversation point of view. And I think that what's 30% of 160?
48.
You see what happens if I do this. That works. There we go. All right. So now, of these 80 people, of these 48 people that called me, okay, we made the ascent of those 48 that picked up. What percentage? Okay, if I call 10 people, if I call whatever 100 people, what percentage of those people do you think would actually give me, once you've got them on the phone, okay, would actually give you a referral? Well, I heard about Betty down the street, or you might want to call so and so. What percentage do you think?
10.
10's good.
Okay.
Do you think it's higher?
Depends on the day. Depends on the day and what's going on in the world, I think.
When you say a referral, you're talking about somebody that is currently kind of in the market for buying or selling, and so they know that because they've had conversations.
Nope.
No?
It means they don't know. They think that, well, I heard that my cousin Sally might be thinking of moving.
Okay, good enough.
She's, and you find a way to connect with them. You find a way to communicate
Okay.
with them.
Got it.
That you're going to get that.
Okay.
10%. You okay with that? Does that make sense? Okay. And then from that person that I get, okay, how many, if you actually got an appointment from them, right? You got that 10%, you actually got that appointment, right? All right. How many of those appointments do you think is going to result in an actual sale?
10%. 1 in 10. Less.
I don't know. If someone actually gave you, if you actually went on a listing appointment, and they gave you, you're not going to necessarily get the listing every time, but you met with a buyer, you're not going to get the buyer. We've got a conversion rate of 25%. I don't know that that's wrong. Anybody have an opinion on that? I like 25% better than 10%. Can we leave it at 25%?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. It's so nice of you. But maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so So maybe I should have worked through this before instead of being interactive. I should have just told you what I was going to do. So I don't know if this is going to make this change. I think it'll work. I think. And that changed this number here, I think. And then when we move back here to clients and spheres, just assuming you wanted to do 30 transactions, I'm just looking for the ratio of what I'd have to do there. And then open houses. We did open houses, sphere of influence, and circle prospecting. Is that correct?
Yep.
And how many, guys, I don't know your experience here, how many units are you guys doing in a year? Are you guys 100 units a year, 5 units a year, 12 units a year?
I'm new, so I wouldn't.
Okay.
We're figuring that out.
Do you guys want to plan a 24 units in a year, 12 units a year?
I think we should plan on 12.
12 it shall be. 1 a month is what we're going to do. Okay? So we're going to look here. Let's say that we're going to get 4 from past sphere. We're going to get 4 here. And we're going to get 4 here. That equals 12. Okay? All right. Well, based upon the math that we did with circle prospecting, okay, we know that we need to make, we have to host 16 open houses, okay, a year, okay. We've got to contact 1,600 people a year, and we have to make over 16,000 phone calls a year. And if we look at that, what that means on a weekly basis, I think you need to look at the fact that you've got to do at least 1 open house. I mean, you've got to make 335 calls a week, okay? So 335 divided by 5, 67 calls a day. So 67 calls a day, and you need to make sure that you talk to 34 divided by 5. That's assuming you got to talk to 6 or 7 people a day. You got to actually have contact with them, and you want to try and get 1 appointment a week, whether it's a buyer or seller. Okay. So, what do you guys think about those numbers?
I think I mean, the math makes sense, but sometimes it's like you gotta go back. Now with a new agent, I understand that that's like kind of. I feel overwhelmed thinking of calling 64 people a day, and I think it's like.
I'm not talking about talking to 64 people.
Or calling.
It's making a dial.
Okay.
You have to make that many dials. Circle prospecting.
Okay.
You're half of them are going to hang up on you anyway. You got to, because we threw circle prospecting into that algorithm or that analysis. That's why those calls. We could change this whole thing. Okay, if I were to come over here. Okay, and I was to say, you know what, I'm going to do all of my business in open houses. Okay, it's going to change that analysis. But when someone says they want to do circle prospecting, they have to be willing to pick up the phone and make a bunch. I don't think that from your planning point of view, okay, I don't see that you're going to, because that's assuming you're not making any phone calls. Let's say you decided to do 8, 6 of them are going to come from open houses, and 6 and 6. Well, we did that sphere analysis. We were bottom line very aggressive, just so you know.
Yeah.
Those numbers.
Sphere is going to
super aggressive.
Sphere is going to be warmer than a cold call anyway. A cold call is going to be a circle prospecting, so you're going to have to do more.
Do you see how that changes that analysis?
That makes
Well, that's really simple.
You're
not only having to call one person a week, you know, but you got to be whole. You know, you got to get 1 appointment a week, and that appointment's got to come from doing your open houses. Okay, and you're doing, you know, you've got to be doing an open house a week. Probably, in all honesty, you should be doing 2 if you're doing that. Okay. So my point of view is, you have to do the math in some way. You can use my worksheet, or you can do this your own
What's
way.
that net to agent mean? What, 74,250?
That's how much you'll make.
It's just talking about money. It's an internal document I use with team splits, so ignore that. because if you're doing your own business, you got your own business plan, you got your own expense structure. But I was pulling this off of our business plan because I like using those numbers to figure out a plan. Okay, so just for conversation's sake, okay, we've decided, okay, in our group right here, okay, keeping it simple, that I'm going to do if I'm going to go after this business that we've just created, and it is the real estate zombie apocalypse, right? It's maybe harder than it has been. So where I used to think I had to do 1 open house a week, maybe we should do 2. What do you think?
Sure.
Would it kill you guys if maybe you're not in the, I don't care. But if you care about generating some business, and maybe open house is not part of your plan, but let's say it is, well then you should do a really good job of open houses. Do you agree?
Yes.
At least 1 a week. But if we're really trying to get something done here, maybe you should do 2, 5.
Why not 5? What else are we doing?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Come on, I mean,
That's exactly right.
well, we've got a lot of things we could be doing there. We've already talked about that.
So
You
I
can
know,
make your phone
I
call
know right
to
now,
your house, you know?
Roxy has a vacant home.
Oh,
Would you
yeah.
mind if he held it open 5 days a week? Go for it. Okay,
I mean,
so,
it's right next to the Costco. I remember stopped by.
but my point is,
Out there, like, we're going to the Costco.
so let's just take this, I'm using this whole conversation, the purpose, I don't want to get lost in the weeds. The purpose of it is exactly, let's just go there. You are going to do 5 open houses a week. I guarantee you, we'll talk to him in 2 weeks, and he's going, holy mother of God, I'm so busy. Oh my, so how about some activity, dude? Let's do it. So we're going to do 5 open houses.
There's a couch.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'll take a nap.
Yeah.
I love it, okay?
I'm not.
What do you need? Okay, so let's just go there. Let's just, the purpose of this whole thing, and the reason I was doing this, is it's all about the activities. That's math, we can get lost in it. You've made a decision. We've done 3 things we talked about doing. Open houses, circle prospecting, and what was the third? A sphere of influence, right? So your sphere of influence, those phone calls can be done while you're at the open house. Agreed?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, and we're gonna have to, does anyone have a commitment? Can I go a little late?
Yeah.
You have to leave for it? Okay. It's 2:33, you gotta go.
I do. Thank
So let me ask you this question, okay? I don't know much about you. I don't know much about your business. What is your focus going to be on your lead generation in the next 30 days? What are you gonna focus on?
What do you mean?
Where are you gonna find your business? Where
Well,
are you gonna find it? What do you
I'm
want to do?
doing it with friends and family.
Great. Okay.
So I have the holidays. It's gonna be great.
And how many people are in your database?
In my CRM.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on it. I've only been doing this for 3 months.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm trying to learn all these things.
Forget all these things. Screw it. Forget it. Do you have a CRM?
I'm working with Jared. He's my mentor.
And is it in the CRM?
No, I have a.
It's on your
spreadsheet.
phone. It's on an Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
How many people are on the spreadsheet?
55.
55 people. Okay. You need to find another
200
45.
and yes, I know.
You got to get more people. So the friends and family is important, but you got to bring more people onto that database. So if you're just going to make phone calls to your friends, what would be, if that's what you're going to do, you got to get more people. How are you going to get more people on your Excel spreadsheet? By calling your friends and family.
And having an open house. Obviously, I'm going to go do her open house. I think it's
Roxy's
fun.
all
That's right.
very.
Bottom line, you could get 1 to 2 people an open house. Maybe just 1 an open house. Maybe it's 0 one day and 1 the next day and 0, 0, 0, 4. But then you put them on your Excel spreadsheet. But if you can get that number, you will have a viable business. Okay. But the other way would be to call people on your database and say, look, I've been doing this 3 months. I need 250 people.
No, I wouldn't do that. No.
It works. It works. Hey, you know what? Let's go there for just a second. I know you got to go, but let's just go there if you don't mind, okay? Because that's where you're at. I just want to help you get to that next step, okay? So I'm you and I'm calling you,
Yes.
okay? And I call you. We have our introductions. We talk about friends and family, Ford, right? And I say, hey, can I ask a favor?
Sure.
it's a little embarrassing, okay? But I realize that I need to, I need more people to talk to. And I love you, you're my family. And who do you know that you think that I should know?
My whole PTA group from school, they would love you.
Do you mind? I would love to get that information, and if I can call them, I'll say that you gave me their name, and I'll be real nice. I just want to stay in touch with them and maybe find out if they'd like to know what their home is worth, just so they can keep track of their most important asset. I'm not going to try and sell anything to them. I just want to get to know them.
Right.
Would that be okay?
Sure, it'd be great.
In fact, maybe they want a pumpkin pie. I'll go buy one at Costco.
I'll bring cookies. I mean.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought. I know you got to go. So
Thank you.
That'll work. It's about the activity.
I know. After
Okay.
Lizzie and this, I have a
Okay.
lot of work to do.
All right. So we got some open houses that we're doing. Now, if we're going to do an open house, let's do it right. What do I need to do if I'm doing an open house?
Signs. Oh, advertising.
Signs. So you all
You
get.
put it in there.
You know how to get signs, right? We all know how to put open house signs up. We're cool with that, right? All right.
Make sure it's in the MLS.
Exactly. Okay.
Stating the obvious.
I've been
Sign
creating
sheet.
like a Facebook event, so it's like a public event where people look events.
Zillow, make sure it's on Zillow.
You could go to the local Facebook group for that area and make sure you belong and post it on there.
And once again, the most important thing is you're in business, and those signage and having the right amount of signs, and you can rent them from my home group, you can, or whatever you got to do. Make sure you got enough signs and they're pointing directionally to that home, and it's in the MLS. People are going to use Zillow, Redfin, and everything else, and it's all IDX coming to them on their phone. They're going to see that. Okay. So you're going to do an open house. Well, what else could you do if you're doing circle prospecting, right? You're going to
the neighborhood or door knock.
door knock. Yeah, 2 blocks either way. Okay,
Or
door knock.
Down.
You can call your title rep and get a circle prospecting list from them. Every title person has access to that.
Leave a voicemail with the phone numbers and backdoor inviting them to your open house.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, the problem that you have with the boredom conversation, if it's the same house for 5 days, you're like, well, I just already knocked on that person's door, and I've already called that person. So, but the bottom line is you're going to get people that are they just show up. It's surprising. Even though it's an old, sorry, no disrespect, an old and stale listing that's been open forever, that's overpriced. Okay? And then once someone comes in to that overpriced listing, okay, depending on the home, is this an immaculate home? Is this an okay home? Is it in good shape, poor shape? Roxy?
I mean, it needs work outside, but the inside is nice. That's the feedback I've been getting.
One old school technique you can do is you go and you use the printers here and you print out the planos of every home that is for sale within a 1 mile radius. They all are seeing it on their phone, right? But trust me, if you take that and take Scotch tape, it depends on how nice the paint job is, right? But if it's a glossy paint job, it's not going to harm the paint. And take some, and just on one wall, you've got the active listings in the neighborhood. They will stop and look at that, and it'll be something to talk to them about. And that's an open house class that we can talk about later, okay? And the key would be, and I ran out of time. I was just getting warmed up. It's been over an hour. I don't want to take your time. But the reality is, we just talked about taking something super simple and looking at what are we going to do about it every day and going out there and doing it, okay? And that is the key to this business. And the key to this business, especially in a downtrending business, is to up your activities. You do more activities, you'll get more business. Because are there people still buying homes in?
Yes.
Just look on MLS, it's right there. And you know they are, and they're selling homes. Now there's lots of agents out there, there's more competition, but guess what? How many of those agents are saying, it's Thanksgiving, I'm so excited what I'm going to do about my decorations, pumpkin latte is out. I mean, there's a certain slowdown. There's people that are taking their homes off the market. There's no better time than right now to be active. No better time. So, that's the point that I was trying to make today. And I didn't get to go through everything. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We've been down there, done that. So, yes, sir?
Your spreadsheet there looks like it would be awfully helpful. Can you share a blank template or sample template?
I'm happy to meet with you.
Okay.
And I'm happy to go through it with you. I don't want to get that template out there too
Okay.
much because this workbook is pretty complex and it's kind of proprietary.
Got it, understood. Okay.
But yeah, if you want that information, I'll help you.
Okay.
But by the mere fact that I was playing around with it, and then I don't even. And some of these numbers need to be adjusted. You got to be careful that you don't make it. But it's those metrics, which is really important to note right here, is essentially when we went to the top. All the other there's 150 of me across the country, right? And we asked everybody what their metrics were. Okay, it was like I disagree with the open house. Mine's more than that. They do one open house, you get 2 nurture. I think one open house, you get maybe 1 or half a nurture, right? Meaning someone that you want to stay in touch with, and then from that nurture, you're going to need 2 of those nurtures to get 1 appointment. Okay, and then you're going to need 4 appointments to get a closing. So those percentages can change, but that's kind of what we have, nationwide. We have a lot of my peers do a ton of calling. Okay, they know that when it comes, they need to make 4,000 calls to get 400 people to pick up. It's a 10% pickup rate on a random call. Okay, and then when they have 400 contacts, they are only going to get 10% of those people that are going to say, "Hi, my name's Johnny." Sure. What do you want to know about it? And then from those 40 nurtures, okay, that have said, "Hi, I'm Johnny," yeah, that's interesting. You're only going to get 10% in an appointment, and once you get that appointment, you need 4 of those appointments to get a closing. So that's where that's a lot of dialing.
Yeah.
And some people love dialing, some people don't.
Yep.
Okay. Canceled and expired, same metrics. I'm happy to share all those with you, but that would be something that I would be more comfortable doing in person than randomly sending you an email with proprietary information.
Sure. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Anything else? Any other questions?
I'm going to be calling you.
Please
Did you
do.
bring any cards down?
I did.
Oh, good.
Please, you guys are on my A list now. You don't need to join my team. You don't need to do business with me. You're on the A list. Okay, so especially if you're not feeling positive, let's
Well,
stop
I
that.
am right now, but I have moments here and there. So that's, I think, my biggest hang up. Well, and also
You can always join us
discipline.
for our power up calls in the morning. Kelsey's always there early, right, Kelsey?
Thank you.
Now you have to be there.
Yes, I called you, yes, and she never showed up.
Oh,
So,
okay. I was
yeah.
wondering. I was like, did I
Tell me
miss
what
the
Quake's
call?
No, yeah, she never showed up. Yeah,
That's okay.
It's a
I would
network
be happy to send you
of the top
contact
1 to 2%
information if you want
teams
to
across the
contact her
country.
point, though.
Very cool.
And a lot of times, what happened, Ben, Kenny, and Chris Suarez
She speaks
started
Spanish.
place,
Yeah, her friend was the one that was contacting
I was with Kelwins
me.
forever, and they were old Kelwins
For
guys.
her.
They had these big networks, and they're
Yeah,
realizing
sure.
that they would do an expansion team. They'd go partner with somebody
Yeah,
in
I
their
know
city.
how much
And what would happen was
I was like, I
these,
would just rather be prepared.
there was not enough.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point, and then you bog down. You run out of money. You run out of resources. And then it comes back down, like it's a Karl and Sherry business, right?
Right.
And so how do you, they're like, wow, they're really missing the power behind it. So, and I had done this for 23 years. We did, we're doing, 25 to 30 million a year, but we weren't doing more than that. I'd gotten into a set rut. And so I joined Place to grow the business, because what they do is now I've got accountants and I've got HR. We have, our agents, when they do 24 units, they get health insurance. We're just more big, and we had $100 million infusion from, I don't know, what's the name of that investment company? I always draw a blank.
Venture.
No, that's a good one. But they're very well capitalized. So our CRM, which everyone has their own CRM, but it's all part of, everything's driven.
What CRM do you use?
Brivity. And who invested $100 million in us?
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs.
Oh,
For 10% of the company. So it's nothing different than what anyone else can do. It's just we are all using the same playbook. Me and 160 of my best friends across the country, and there's a tremendous power in that because they're all doing the same things. And, well, I ran into this problem, or I ran into that problem, and I'm getting help and advice from people that are kicking ass at a high level.
Yeah.
So for me, it's awesome. And for our agents, you're on your calls every Friday morning with 800 of your best friends. So, but those are fun, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're actually really inspirational, and it gets you like motivated.
Yeah, we'll get you that. You can listen in. It'll get you pumped up. You don't need to join the company, but it's nice to have a positive outlook.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. And it's the thing he talked about last Friday. Sherry, you liked this a lot, right? The Chris Suarez call.
He had Todd Graham on, who's the ASU football coach, who's very inspiring on how to get, he's used to getting kids motivated, and he
very
was
similar to realtors.
Yeah. Huh?
Realtors, 18 to 22-year-olds, same difference.
That's what I said. That's
You know?
pretty much what I said. Yeah. But he did say in the very beginning part of his call that it was really hard for him to do Zoom because he does prefer to be in person. And I completely get it. I hate Zoom. I just like, people are all over the planet doing whatever and you can't get their attention. Except when you're on a John Dyer call and they're like, eyes here, I want to see your eyeballs.
That's when you have to say, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But also, the thing with failure, we're talking about staying positive, right? People are, in this economy, right? Depending on if the Fed overcorrects or if we move into a recession, we could be having some hard times coming, right? Yeah. Companies are laying people off. People are this is hard. Someone loses their job. It's a hard thing, right? The question is, what do? You have to, don't accept failure as failure. You have to say, oh, that is, what am I going to do about it? And my partner, Chris, he did the New York Marathon, and he thought he was all in, but he didn't really train like he was supposed to. Because he really, even though he's done this before, and he got into it, and his pace was too fast. By the time he was mile 8 or 9, he started losing his toenails. And then because he's
that call I was talking about Tuesday's call.
Well, they're all good calls, but it was one of those things. And then it was hotter because he's from Oregon, and it was hotter than he expected, so he started to dehydrate. So he started chugging the Gatorade, but he never drinks Gatorade, so his body revolted. He started throwing up. So.
And then dehydrated more?
Yeah. And so the question comes down to.
Cramped up and it's like.
But the thing is, then it's a decision of, hey, I failed because I was going to have this great race, so you can just stop, or you know what, I'm just going to walk to the finish. And that's for someone who performs at a high level. That's very embarrassing for them. But he finished. And it was a good story about dealing with challenge.
They went to interview. I guess they interview all finishers, and they went up and then he said to the guy, they said, "Congratulations, you finished." He goes, "This was not a congratulatory moment for me." He was very disappointed in himself, but through his family's eyes, his family saw him as a hero. Oh my gosh, you just ran 23 miles, and his kid's like, that's the best, you're the best, Dad, so it made him, it kind of changed his mindset about things like, well, I'm disappointed in myself, but here's my kid who thinks I'm the best runner in the world.
Well, and I think that the point is he didn't stop and give up.
That's what Karl and I were like, wait, he finished, what's the problem? But he didn't finish the way he wanted to finish, was his thing. He wanted more. Yeah. So it was a good.
I like the analogy of tell me when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say stop, and you already passed the bottom.
Right.
Well, honestly, if all of us kind of with the thought back that we're in the business in 2008, we could have said, "Oh my gosh, we're going to find a way to buy something." But in 2008, it was survival.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay, we'll sell your house. We had sold people their houses, their dream houses. Then we short sold their dream house, and now we're back to helping them purchase their dream house again. And that was a really hard time.
Yeah,
to look at those people and go, I'm sorry. What do you say? But if we would have bought those houses at 100,000, we wouldn't be here right now.
I have a short sale right now.
You do?
I have a client who bought
Carl, thank you.
2 months
You bet.
ago.
I just think so.
Somebody was asking the question about
I'm like,
when the market's up and down.
I'm done with this
And
client.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this.
But they sold their house
proper.
in 8 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay.
Okay, so they had to, yeah.
And then they decided amongst moving out that they're going to go buy a house together.
Uh-huh.
So
I'm
then
trying
they
to
bought
make
the
this.
house
I don't
together
know
and
if
they
this
were
is
mad.
gonna